Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Continuing with exercise 10.2, we did question number 9. Now from question number 10 I'm going to do the second part, because the first part is same as the second part, and this question is also same as question number 9, but there is very little bit difference at both the questions. They want us to find sin alpha plus beta and cos alpha plus beta. Okay, these are the unknown quantities that we need to find. They have given us tangent alpha equals to negative 15/8. Solution: tangent alpha is given to be equal to negative 15/8, and sine beta is given to be equal to negative 7/25, and it is given that neither alpha nor beta lies in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so it means alpha does not lie in the fourth quadrant, as well as beta also does not lie in the fourth quadrant. So we won't take alpha and beta in the fourth quadrant, because it is given in the question that they do not lie in the fourth quadrant. So the only possibilities are the remaining three quadrants. Okay, they have given us that both these angles do not lie in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so we have to find in which of these three quadrants this alpha and beta lies. For that, if you look at tangent alpha is less than 0. Okay, as it is obvious from the value which is given in the question. Tangent alpha is equal to negative 15/8, and it is less than 0. So it means we know the tangent is positive in the first quadrant. Okay, so it means that as tangent is negative, it means it won't lie in the first quadrant, because tangent is always positive in the first quadrant. Also, it can't lie in the third quadrant, because in the third quadrant tangent is always positive. So the only possibility is that tangent alpha must lie in the second quadrant, because tangent alpha is negative in the second and fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, they have given us that that alpha does not lie. So the only remaining possibility is that tangent alpha lies in this quadrant. Okay, alpha lies, so not tangent alpha lies in this quadrant. So it means that alpha is an angle in second quadrant. Okay, so terminal ray will be in second quadrant. This is what we have to note and remember. Okay, this we will be needing. So this is an important note. Okay, let's look at beta. Now beta is negative. Now we know that sine of an angle is negative if it is either in the third or fourth quadrant. Okay, in the first quadrant sine is positive, so this beta can't lie in the first quadrant, because it is given that sine of this angle is negative. So also it can't be in the second quadrant, because we know that in the second quadrant sine is always positive, and it is given that sine beta is a negative quantity. So as sine beta is less than 0, so the only two possibilities where sine can lie is in the third and fourth. Now they have given us that both the angles do not lie in the fourth quadrant, so it means sine must lie in the third quadrant, because this is the only quadrant left with us. It can't be in the first and second, because it is already positive, and it is given that the sine beta is negative. So we can skip the first and second quadrant. Similarly, it can't lie in the fourth quadrant, although it is negative in the fourth quadrant, but in the question they have given us that it does not lie in the fourth quadrant. So the only possibility where beta can lie is in the third quadrant. It means that beta lies in third quadrant according to the given information. Beta is negative and it should be in the third quadrant, so it means that sine beta or beta is in the third quadrant, and alpha, as we have observed over here, is in the second quadrant. Okay, so you do have to remember these two things, because we will be using it. Now in the question they have asked for sine alpha plus beta and cos alpha plus beta. Now we know that sine alpha plus beta is equal to sine alpha cos beta plus cos alpha sine beta. Okay, they want us to find sine alpha plus beta. Now we have tangent alpha, okay, and sine beta. Over here we know what is sine beta, and the remaining three quantities we have to find. Okay, now tangent alpha is negative 15/8. With the help of this I am going to find the sine alpha and cos alpha. How? We know that from the trigonometric identities. Now tangent alpha is given to be equal to negative 15 by 8, and we know that from trigonometric identities we know that 1 plus tan square some angle is always equal to the secant square of that angle. Okay, with the help of this quantity we are going to get secant square alpha, because we are going to use tangent alpha equals to negative 15 by 8 over here. After putting the value of tangent alpha, I am going to find secant alpha, and with the help of secant alpha we can find cos alpha. After finding cos alpha, from that, using the first quantity, we can easily find sin alpha. So let's go for it. Okay, this implies that 1 plus tangent alpha, tangent square alpha is equal to secant square alpha. Okay, according to this quantity, 1 plus tan square alpha should be equal to secant square alpha. Now we know that tan square alpha is equal to negative 15 by 8. Okay, 1 plus tan square alpha is equal to secant square alpha. 1 plus tan square alpha is equal to secant square alpha, and now 1 plus tan square alpha is equal to secant square alpha. Putting the value of tangent alpha from here over here, what do we have? 1 plus, this will be negative 15 over 8 whole square is equal to secant square alpha. Now calculating 15 by 8 square, 15 square, this is equal to 1 plus 225 over 64 is equal to secant square alpha. Okay, now adding these two, 1 plus 225 over 64, we have 289 over 64. Now secant square alpha is equal to 289 over 64. From here we can find secant alpha to be equal to, taking the square root of these two, square root of 289 is 17. Okay, and square root of 64 is 8. Now this can be plus as well as minus, we have to decide about it. Now secant alpha is equal to, it may be plus, maybe minus. Okay, we are going to decide about it. And how we are going to decide about it? We know that secant alpha is the reciprocal of cos alpha. Now alpha is in the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant we know that cos is always negative. Okay, as cos is negative, therefore secant alpha will also be negative. So you are going to put a negative sign over here, because alpha lies in the second quadrant, and whenever an angle lies in the second quadrant, as we have done in previous videos, I have discussed it all, cos alpha is always negative for the angle which lies in the second quadrant. So secant alpha will also be negative because it is the reciprocal of cos alpha. It means that secant alpha is equal to, secant alpha is equal to negative 17 by 8. So cos alpha, which is the reciprocal of secant alpha, it is equal to negative 8 by 17. So we have found the value of cos of alpha. Okay, the value of cos of alpha, being the reciprocal of secant alpha, is equal to negative 8 by 17. Okay, now let me write it somewhere, because we will be needing this quantity cos alpha. Okay, over here. So if I erase this, so we have found cos alpha. Okay, we had sin beta. I have found cos alpha also. With the help of cos alpha we are going to find sin alpha, and there is one more step. We have to find cos beta, which is in the answer in the question, sin beta is given to us. With the help of this I am going to find cos beta, and with the help of this cos of alpha which we have found, I am going to find sin alpha. Okay, and then again I am going to write this identity and then put the values of all these quantities. Okay, so cos alpha is, as we have found now, cos alpha is negative 8 by 17. Okay, this is what we got. This was given in the question. Now if cos alpha is negative 8 by 17, it means that sin alpha will be, we know that sin square alpha is equal to 1 minus cos square alpha, and this is 1 minus cos square alpha will be negative 8 by 17 whole square, which is equal to 1 minus 64 over, I think square of 17 was 289. Yes, it is 289. So 1 minus 64 by 289 will be 225 by 289. Okay, this is sine square alpha, and to find sine of alpha we will have to take the square root of both the sides. Now it will be equal to 15 over 17. We have to decide the sign. Okay, now we know that alpha is in which quadrant was alpha lying? As well, alpha was lying in the second quadrant. So in second quadrant we know that sine is always positive, so sine alpha will be equal to 15 over 17. Okay, we have already discussed it in the beginning of this question, that in the start we discussed that alpha is in the second quadrant and beta is in the third quadrant. Okay, this we have already discussed in the beginning. So sine, we now know sine alpha, cos alpha, sine beta is also known to us. The only thing which is unknown now is cos of beta. Okay, cos of beta, cos square beta is equal to 1 minus sine square beta. 1 minus what is sine beta? Negative 7 over 25 whole square, which is equal to 1 minus square of 7 is 49 and square of 25 is 625. Subtracting these two values, what do we get? 1 minus 49 by 625 gives us 576 over 625. Now cos of beta will be the square root of 576 over 625. And what is square root of 576? Is it a perfect square? Yes, it is equal to 24 over 25. Square root of 576 is 25. Square root of 625 is 25. Now in order to decide the sign, we know that beta lies in the third quadrant and there cos beta is always negative, so we are going to put a negative sign. Okay, this is how we do it. After doing the calculation, we are going to decide the sign by with the help of the quadrant in which beta lies. Beta is in the third quadrant, and the third quadrant cos beta is always negative, so I have put a negative sign over here. So we have cos beta equals to negative 24 over 25. Okay, cos beta is negative 24 by 5. Now sin beta is given to us. Cos alpha we have already calculated. Cos beta is also calculated. Let me write it over here. Okay, cos beta is equal to negative 24 over 25. Okay, and sin alpha from here is 15 by 70. This is 15 over 70. So we have got all these values. Now we can easily find the value of sin alpha plus beta and cos alpha plus beta, because these identities involves these four quantities. As we know them all, so we can now easily find the value of sin alpha plus beta and cos alpha plus beta. This is the last step of this question. Now sin alpha plus beta. Now this is the last step. Okay, we are going to find sin alpha plus beta. Sin alpha plus beta is equal to sin alpha cos beta plus cos alpha and sin beta. Okay, this is the identity. I'm going to put the values of these four quantities over here and we will get the values of sin alpha plus beta. Sin alpha is equal to 15 over 17. Cos beta is negative 24 over 25 plus cos alpha is negative 8 by 17 and sin beta is negative 7 by 25. Okay, this is sin alpha plus beta. Now I'm going to multiply this. as we have a positive quantity and negative quantity, so this will be a negative quantity. 15 into 24, or let me multiply it directly. 15 by 17, 15 by 17 into 24 by 25 is equal to 72 over 85. Plus minus minus will be plus, so this sign will remain as plus. 8 by 17 when multiplied with 7 by 25 will give us 56 over 425, and after subtracting these two we will get the answer negative 304 over 425. Okay, so sine alpha plus beta is equal to negative 304 and 400 over 425. Okay, so we have found the first expression. Now in order to find the second expression, I am again going to write the identity. This is sine alpha plus beta. So we have done half of this question. Now the remaining, just last step, we have to find cos alpha plus beta. We know that cos alpha plus beta is equal to cos alpha cos beta minus sin alpha sin beta. Okay, so cos alpha is equal to negative 8 by 17 into cos beta is negative 24 over 25 minus sin alpha into sin beta. Okay, multiplying these two, 8 by 17 into 24 by 25 will be equal to 192 over 425. This is 192 over 425 plus 15 by 17 into 7 by 25, 21 over 85. Adding these two, what we are going to get is plus 192 by 425. What do we have? 297 over 425. So cos of alpha plus beta is equal to 297 over 425. Okay, this completes the solution of the question. We wanted cos of alpha plus beta and sin alpha plus beta. For that we needed these four quantities. So first we found out these four quantities, their signs. Okay, be careful about their signs. And then after that, after finding these four quantities, you just have to put the values of these four into these identities that they require, and this completes the question. Okay, cos alpha plus beta, cos alpha, putting the values of cos alpha and then cos beta. From here, sin alpha, this we have already calculated in the start, and then we just have to put the values of these four quantities into these identities to get the answer, and this will complete the solution. Now question number 11, we have to prove that cos of 8 minus sin of 8 over cos of 8 plus sin of 8 is equal to tangent 37. Okay, now if you look at these angles 8 and 37, we know that 37 plus 8 is equal to 45. Okay, 37 plus 8 equals to 45. So what comes in our mind is that because these are the not the one of the special angles, but they are related to some to the special angle 45. Okay, 37 plus 8 is equal to 45. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pick the right hand side. Okay, picking the right hand side will give us tangent 37 degree. This can be written as, now tangent 37 can be written as 45 degrees minus 8 degrees. Okay, tangent 37 can be written as 45 minus 8, because on the left hand side we have a fraction. Okay, and we know that tangent alpha minus beta is also in the form of a fraction, and that if we have to write 37 in such a way that we can get 8 on the right hand side, so we can get the 8 and transfer it to the left hand side. Okay, to an expression which involves 8. So we know that tangent, what's tangent alpha minus beta? What will be the value of tangent by identity? Tangent, we know that tangent A minus B is equal to tangent alpha, tangent A minus tangent B over 1 plus tangent A and tangent B. This I have written from the identities. We are going to apply this identity as a formula to this. This will be equal to, you know, in place of A we have 45, in place of B we have 8. So I am applying this identity over here. This will be equal to, okay, so I have applied this formula. Tangent 45 we know is equal to 1 minus tangent 8, we don't know any value of it, and over here 1 plus tangent 45 is again 1, so 1 into tangent 8 degrees. So the expression that we got is 1 minus tangent 8 and 1 plus tangent 8. Now we know that we have to write the sine and cosines of 8, so I am going to convert these two tangents in the ratio. I will write it as the ratio of sines and cosines. Okay, so this will be equal to 1 minus sine of 8 okay, 1 minus sine over cos. We know that tangent is equal to sine of theta over cos theta. So I have used this ratio formula in both in the numerator as well as in the denominator. Then I am going to take LCM now. Cos of 8 plus sine of 8. Okay, and the denominator in both the cases is cos of 8, and in the denominator again the LCM is cos of 8. So as it is the same, this will be cancelled out and we are going to get this expression, which is the expression on the, which is equal to the right hand side. Okay, these two are cancelled out, so we can erase this, and this is equal to the same expression as the left hand side, not the right hand side, the left hand side. So we started from the right hand side. We first wrote 37 as 45 minus 8. After applying this identity, we got tangent, and we know that on the left hand side we have sines and cosines. That's why I wrote tangent theta, tangent 8 as sine 8 over cos 8. Same is the case in the denominator, and after taking LCM we got the expression on the left hand side, and this completes the solution. Now question number 12. Question number 12 and 13 are of the same method, so I am going to solve question number 12, and in the same way you can solve question number 13 of this exercise. Okay, so let's start. The question is alpha, beta and gamma are the angles of a triangle. So we have a triangle, and alpha and beta and gamma, alpha, beta and gamma, they are the angles of this triangle. We have to prove that cotangent alpha by 2 plus cotangent beta by 2 plus cotangent gamma by 2 is equal to cotangent alpha by 2, cotangent beta by 2 and cotangent gamma by 2. We have to bring this expression, and it is given that alpha, beta are the angles of triangle. Now as alpha, beta and gamma are the angles of the triangle, so the sum of these three angles will be equal to 180 degrees. Okay, the sum of the three angles will be equal to 180 degrees. Now shifting gamma to the right hand side, because I want to apply an identity, and we know that we want alpha by 2, beta by 2 and gamma by 2. So I am going to divide both these expressions by 2. Okay, we are going to divide both the sides by 2, so that I can get alpha by 2, beta by 2 and gamma by 2. Okay, so dividing both sides by 2, what do we get? Over 2 and over 2. This will be equal to alpha by 2 plus, okay, this is equal to, okay, 90 minus gamma by 2, alpha plus beta, alpha or beta by 2 plus beta or by 2, okay, is equal to 90 minus gamma by 2. So we got this expression. What am I going to do? As we want cotangent, and the identities of cotangent are also there, but usually we do memorize the identity of tangent only. So we can apply the identity of tangent, and then from there, from tangents, we can easily get cotangent by taking reciprocals. Okay, so I'm going to take the tangent of both the sides, and I'm going to apply the identities that we have studied. Applying tangent on both the sides, this will be equal to, now tangent alpha by 2 plus beta by 2. What am I going to do is, I'm going to apply the identity tangent a plus b, which is equal to tangent a plus tangent b tangent a plus b over 1 plus tangent of a into tangent of b. Let me write it in the center so you can, we know that tangent a plus b is equal to this is the identity that I am going to use over here. Okay, on the left hand side, using this identity, in place of a I have alpha by 2, in place of b I have beta by 2. So I am going to apply this identity on the left hand side, and we will get tangent alpha by 2 plus tangent beta by 2 over 1 minus tangent alpha tangent beta. It's better now. So this will be equal to, now we know that this is an odd multiple of 90. So according to the allied angles concept that we already did in exercise 10.1, tangent will, this can be written as 1 times 90 as it is an odd multiple. So tangent will change to cot gamma by 2, and its sign will be positive because 90 minus something is in the first quadrant, and in the first quadrant all the trigonometric ratios are positive. So tangent of that angle will also be positive. So as this angle lies in the first quadrant, so its tangent will be positive. So we have to put a positive sign over here, and you can also put no sign over here. That is the same as plus. Okay, now we know that in this expression we have cotangents, okay, and over here I have tangents. So what am I going to do is, I am going to write it in the form of cotangents. Okay, we know that tangent alpha by 2 will be the reciprocal of cotangent alpha by 2. So it means that we know that cot of, let me write it, we know that cot of some angle is, cot of A is equal to 1 over tangent A. From here we can say that tangent A is equal to 1 over cotangent A, shifting this to the right hand side because they are reciprocal of one another. So cot alpha by 2 can be written as, tangent alpha by 2 can be written as the reciprocal of cot alpha by 2. Okay, so this will be equal to 1 over cotangent alpha by 2. This can be written as 1 over cotangent beta by 2 because they are the reciprocal of one another. Tangent A is the reciprocal of cotangent A, and cotangent A is the reciprocal of tangent A. So tangent A can be written as the reciprocal of cotangent A. Therefore I have written tangent alpha by 2 as the reciprocal of cotangent alpha by 2. Over again doing the same thing in the denominator. This will be 1 minus, this will be 1 over cot alpha by 2 and 1 over cot beta by 2 equals to cotangent gamma by 2. We don't need to do anything to it because we need cotangent, and this is already in the form of cotangent. Now what am I going to do is I'm going to take the LCM of both the sides. Okay, I will write this expression again over here. Okay, so I'm going to write this again over here. What we got is 1 over cot alpha by 2 plus okay, now the next step will be to take the LCM of the numerator as well as the denominator. Taking the LCM, this will be and taking the LCM over here also, what do we get? Okay, so I have taken LCM in the numerator. This cot beta by 2 will be multiplied to this fraction, and cot alpha by 2 will be multiplied to this fraction. In the denominator we are going to have cot alpha by 2 and cot